Hey, Facebook family, those of you guys who are logging on, we're getting ready to do a Catering 101 session. We're not going to be all night. Just wanted to share some good information with you guys. Bill Nell, the chef. Hey, girl. Hey, Joanna. Sammy, how's business? You guys are rocking in Atlanta and Beltsville. I think I saw you were somewhere else too. Business is good. God is good. I'm on Facebook and I know, right? I've been seeing, I'm watching. Really, really proud, really, really happy for you guys, Sammy. I gotta come back up there. So you guys have a couple of minutes. I'm trying to wait till like 7:05. We had a lot of people joining that are on Facebook. We're waiting for people to finish joining on Instagram Live, and then we're gonna discuss just in detail about my experiences, and hopefully you guys can gain some insight and some knowledge from me about basically what I do, the services that we offer, and kind of how to make it a little bit on the catering end and the event planning end, and that's primarily off-site, meaning that if you didn't have a venue, or if you have a venue, how you can increase revenue with the companies that you're with, or either for yourself. So a couple more minutes. I think we have like another 2 minutes before we really start kind of jumping into it. I wanted to wait to like 7:05, if that's okay with you guys. Hi, Shelly. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Wayne. My brother Wayne is on Facebook Live. He's a chef out in Arizona. Hi, Jesse. Hi, Vicky. Mr. Key Juice. Hello, how are you? Hi, nephew. One more minute, then we're going good. Hi, Sharon. All right, so at 7:05, we're going to start and kind of let everybody keep up or catch up as we go along. So everybody, my name is Candy Daly, right? The new Mrs. Candy Daly. I just recently got married. And for most of you guys that know me already, you know that I've been in the industry. I've been doing this since 1998 in the hospitality industry, working my way either from the line to the front of the house, all through the back of the house and in between. And most recently, I would say maybe for the last 5 or 6 years, I've been doing catering for a very long time, but I've been working with one of the larger catering companies in the area that I'm in. And primarily we do, well, for the most part, we did only off-site catering. So we are always inside of a venue, always doing an event off-site. And so when I originally joined that organization, the contract that I had was basically for me to take that company from the current revenue that they were at to another bracket that they wanted to be in. And fortunately, we were able to set goals and accomplish them within a short amount of time. So short amount of time being a couple of years. And what I noticed between working with other companies, and like I said, I've been at hotels, I've been with independents, and even with the larger catering firms that I've been with, is that these companies will make a lot of money, and that I wouldn't see the same thing happening with the smaller companies. Basically your mom and pop organization, or your small chefs or small catering companies, whereas we would see millions of dollars in revenue, the smaller mom and pops may not have saw anything close to that. If they have a good year, it may be 75 to 100,000. And so what I realized that in my journey is there was never anyone who shared with me how to get from point A to be like the big boys, and how to grow my company or how to expand my company. So I thought it would be neat to actually utilize social media, and I decided that I'm gonna try to do it for a month, once a week, to share some information, just some of the basic information about getting started, getting in the business, and hopefully expanding your brand or expanding your business in the hospitality industry. So like I said, I've done it all, from owning my own restaurants to my family having restaurants, catering, you name it, hotels, been there, done that. So I'm just going to go through a list. So before I go into detail about the catering part of it, I wanted to basically talk about the opportunities that are out there that I see every single day. So for those of you, and I'm going to talk about a few different markets that I've studied. So for those of you who are in the area that I'm in, and that's DC, Maryland, Virginia, if you're in any of those 3 states, the top 25 catering companies in the area that report, and you guys can look this up on your own free time through the Washington Business Journal, they're reporting that they've spent, or that the 25 companies, their revenue for last year was $283 million. That's a lot of money. $283 million just in the top 25 companies was made 2016, right? So that's divided by 25. And some of those companies, the largest company makes 35 million. There's a few that I know of that make, between 15 and 20. And then you have some smaller ones that do 5 and 10 million. But that's just DC, Maryland, and Virginia, right? DC, Maryland, Virginia, 283 million. And then you have some companies like the one that I work for that isn't even willing to report, or the one that I worked for prior that wasn't even willing to report how much they made to the Washington Business Journal. So those companies are not even included in that $283 million. So the thing that I want to talk about is not how to stop those companies from making their 283 million, but how do you get your piece of that, or even a piece of whatever is out there. The same thing for those of you who are in Ohio and you have interest in joining the hospitality industry or becoming a caterer or doing off-premise catering. The market maybe not be the exact same as it is, but there's definitely over $75 million that's spent in Ohio for high-end events. And so the thing is, how do you become a vendor, or how do you become one of the companies that people or companies are using to provide those services? So that's one thing. And then you have like Charlotte, North Carolina. I know that Jerome is down there. And that's another market where over $100 million is spent annually in catering and event. And so I just wanted to share, like I said, a little bit of information about how maybe you can tap into that market, or what you can do to grow your company or grow your organization, so maybe you can have access to that. So how do I know? Because I work in it every single day. I have a lot of high-end clients. I have a lot of corporate clients. And so I just wanted to share some of the information that I know now that wasn't shared for me back in the day when I first started. Hi, Jasmine. Hi, Barry. Hi, Marie. Hi, Charles. Hi, Shanika. I'm sorry, you guys on Instagram. I'm saying hi to all the people that are still logging in on Facebook. So this will definitely work for people that are starting their own business or looking to expand their catering business. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the difference between drop-off catering and full-service catering. Those are 2 completely different things. So again, I'm just going to repeat, there's 2 different services that you're offering if it's catering, especially if you're an off-premise catering company. The first one is going to be your corporate catering, and that's generally a drop-off service. The second one is your full-service catering. And so I just want to explain what the difference is between the 2 of those 2 services, right? So you are ABC Catering Company, and you've decided that you're going to start providing catering services in the metropolitan area where you're at. And so when a client calls you, you need to be able to determine what services that they need and the different services that you'll actually offer. So drop-off services. This is not your $10,000 event. This is not your $20, $30, $40, $50,000 event. Drop-off service is very simple as that. It means that you have a running menu Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday, however you want it to roll. And every day you can repeat that same menu nonstop, kind of similar to a restaurant. The difference is that you're preparing the food, you're setting it up on disposable platters, and you're dropping it off to your client. You're not staying on site. You're not going to stay all day. You're not working the event. You are literally dropping it off and keeping it moving. That's drop-off service. Now, here's a couple of hints, and for those of you who already have businesses, write this down. For drop-off service, you're charging for everything that comes out of your space, meaning you're charging for the food. If your client needs disposables, if they need plates, napkins, forks, cups, stuff like that, then you're dropping that off to them too, right? You're providing everything that they need, and then that's it. You're walking out the door. That's drop-off service. Nothing more, nothing less. If it's a high-end client, if it's a corporate client, a big client of yours, then you might put it on China, but that's a completely different story, and we can come back to that. But for the most part, drop-off service is just that. You're preparing the food, you're dropping it off, and it's a go. Done. You're on to the next event. And for drop-off service, you should be able to do that for multiple events a day. You can have 10 or 15 orders in your metropolitan. If you're downtown, you can do 10 or 15 orders for a drop-off service, and you can make a lot of money in one day. But you have to have the clientele, obviously, to do that. But again, that's what drop-off service is. You walk in, you go. And then you have full service. And so a lot of you all who are following me, you might see that every so often I post pictures of full service events that we do. And I do both. I do drop-off and full service. But the full service are generally more elaborate. Full service means that you're providing everything. Full service means that you're providing not only the food, you're providing the staff, you're providing the decor, you're providing linens, tables, chairs, whatever the client needs for the event. Essentially, with full service, you're their event planner. You're going to put everything together for the event, and they're paying for that service. So they're paying you to plan it. They're paying you for the food. They're paying you for the staff, any equipment that you're providing, and for you to actually be on site, right? So is everybody clear? Full service, drop off, two different things. Drop off service, you're just dropping the food off. You're not staying on site. Those are generally reasonable prices that your menu is at. And again, that's from your corporate menu that you have every single day. Wham, bam, thank you, man, it's done. And then you have your full service events where you are into the planning. Sometimes this happens 6 to 8 months before event. If it's a really large event, that can happen maybe a year out, depending on the client. But again, generally 6 to 8 months, maybe 10 months for a wedding, you're being called in and you're doing all of the planning for that event. So I just wanted to differentiate because I see a lot of people on social media especially, and I see people who are dropping or who are doing service, and I'm knowing by looking at it that this should be drop off. This person should not be there. Why are you there working? Because you're not getting paid for it, right? Even though I don't know personally, but I'm assuming that they're not getting paid for it. And then they're doing all of this work and they're not getting the money for it. And the thing is that the type of clients you have are based on the type of services that you offer. Meaning that if you're not getting paid for the service that they're asking for, and you're doing it, they're never going to want to pay you for it. Your client won't want to pay you if they know that they can get you to come and do it for free every time. And it doesn't make sense to offer to do it for free in the beginning. Be honest with your customers from the beginning. If they're talking to you and the information that they're asking for sounds like full service, then they want full service, and that's a fee, and there's a price that they pay for that. And that's how your clientele grows, because when you do an amazing event like that, better believe that somebody's going to come right behind them, and they're going to say, who was that company that came in? Who is that lady? Who is that guy? Who were they? They did a phenomenal job. And you'll start to see your client, the status of your client change. And so you might say, hey, it's one thing to have this corporate nonstop every day during the week. That's great. But on the weekends, I need to be doing full service events. And that's really where you're going to start to see your larger dollars start to fold in and start to come in. But trust and believe that there's different levels to catering. And again, your corporate drop-off catering, that's your nonstop every day. And your full service is your very detailed, planned out events where you're on site. So Everybody should know, right? We explained that, what the difference between drop-offs and full service is. And excuse me if you see me looking over, it's just that I have notes that I wanted to talk about today. So I'm kind of reading between that. So again, for those of you who don't know, who are just joining in, I have a company. It's called Potomac Hospitality Group. We're on IG at Potomac Hospitality. You can look us up. We offer a front of the house service. We offer back of the house services. We do full service catering. We do drop off catering. We provide every service that you need in the hospitality field. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about, we talked about drop off versus full service. So the other thing is, how do you determine if your client needs full service or drop off, right? Because you're on the phone with them and they're saying all of these things. So what you should have every time you're calling a client, or every time a client is calling you, you should have a client sheet. And at the end of this session today, if you send me an email, I'll send you a copy of the general client sheet just for you to have for your records. It's the basic questions that you should be asking your clients when you get on the phone with them. That helps you determine what it is that you need or what your client needs. And so it's a lot of information, but you want to know, because that'll help you say, hey, this person just needs drop off. And that'll say, if it's just drop off, and this is another point that I want to make. If it's just drop off, you're sending them that corporate menu, right? You have that corporate menu and it's very extensive and it's ready to go. That's your everyday menu. You're sending that out. But if it is full service, and this is something else to write down, if it's a full service menu, that's a if it's a full service event, excuse me, that is a custom menu. That means you are creating and tailoring a menu that is specific to that event. I'll give you an example. Every year I have a client and they host an event for about 300 to 350 people. And during that event, they call me at the beginning of the year and they say, Candy, this October, what are we going to do? And they let me come up with all of these great ideas, or all of these ideas for the event. So for the last few years that I've been doing the event, the first few years I did Alice in Wonderland. And it was more Wonderland than it was Alice, but we had Alice in the building, we had the Queen of Hearts in the building, and everybody was dressed up. My wait staff was dressed up, and the entire menu and the entire design was basically focused on Alice in Wonderland. And we took this entire warehouse space and we transformed it into Wonderland, and they loved it. But that took a lot of planning, and it started, like I said, in the January, February, and it happened in October, and it cost a lot. Those type of clients, you'll know as you talk to them on the phone that this is what they're looking for. They're the same company. I do this event annually. Last year I did a carnival, and we turned the entire space into a carnival. So it's instances like that where you'll have a chance to basically create. Those are tailored proposals for full service events, right? So two different menus. You should have your corporate menu, and then you're going to tailor one for your client if it's full service. Okay, so back to the client sheets. If you don't have client sheets already, I'm happy to send you one complimentary. Just when you get off, log off, send me a message, send me a DM, or send me an email requesting it, and I'll email it to you if you send me your email. So we talked about the revenue in each areas. We talked about the difference between drop-offs and full service. We talked about the client sheets, back of the house and front of the house. So I wanted to talk about that because I also see a lot of our chefs, and I love you guys so much, please be encouraged, but I see a lot of chefs who maybe run their own small businesses or run their own business, and for some reason when they're at their events, they're actually out in the front with their clients. Okay, so this is how service should happen. For a full service event, if you're a chef and you know that your clients want to see you, you should have a team in the back. And that team is your kitchen team. We would call them the back of the house. Your back of the house team is not who your client sees. Those are the people who are working with the food. It's just like a restaurant. Essentially, a full service event means that you're a restaurant kind of coming to the site. It means that you have a wait staff in the front, and that's your front of the house. And then you have a back of the house, which is your kitchen team that's executing the food part of it. The front of the house, that wait staff is who you have that is the team that the client actually sees working. So it should not be your cooks or your chef staff that are out in front of the clients. You want that to be private because anything can happen. Something can get spilled, it can get knocked over. You don't want your client to see that part of the service. You want them to see a flawless event. So you keep that back of the house staff in the back in a private area, and then the wait staff brings the food to the front. That's generally how full service operates. Okay, so then the next thing that I wanted to point out, How does all of this work? And this is a completely different session, but it's basically having systems and procedures in place. You want to make certain that you're using the right operating systems, that you have the right programs. If you need that type of information, definitely email me. I can tell you maybe about the services that we offer at our company. Again, it's a full service program. We have a front of the house program where basically if you're the chef or if you're the cook in the back, and you don't have a front of the house team that's dealing with your clients and sending proposals, or maybe you don't even know how to really communicate or don't like to communicate with your client, but you cook really good food, then you will call a company like mine and we'll represent you on the front of the house. We'll do all of your client proposals. We'll do all of your walkthroughs, all of your site visits, everything with your client. And all you do is show up on site with your food. Essentially, that's how that works. Let's see what else. There's so much. Back of the house versus front of the house we went through. If you're a full service catering, you should have a COI. For those of you who don't know what a COI, that's a certificate of insurance. If you're looking to expand your business and you're already a catering company and you're wondering why when you call these big clients or when these big clients call you and they don't allow you in, it's because you don't have a COI. You have to have it if you're an off-premise catering company to go on site. You want to make certain that you have that to get into the building because they want to make certain that you can cover everything. Let's see, client sheets, back of the house versus the front of the house, drop off versus full service, tastings. So this is one of the last things before we go, before I answer any questions. For those of you who I see hosting these amazing events and your clients ask for tastings. So two things. For a drop-off event, remember we discussed drop-off versus full service. For drop-off service, you should not offer a tasting because it's from your corporate menu. The corporate menu is a menu that's full of classics. There's no reason to offer a tasting for that. It's things that people are familiar with that you can produce every single day. You don't offer tastings for that because the profit, because the menus are generally low in price. For your full service events, you have a huge client in, Kaiser Permanente is coming in, and they're saying, we're having an event for 300 people, and before we spend $50,000 with you, we need to taste your food. Absolutely. Offer Kaiser Permanente a tasting. You bring them in, you sit them down, and you go through everything. If you need to know how to do that, again, send me an email, talk to me directly. I'm happy to help. We're happy to offer our services to you. But I just wanted to express that because I'm just like, I hope people are not hosting tastings. And if you have a small client that is saying that they want to have a tasting before they offer your food and they're ordering off the corporate menu, then they need to pay for that tasting, right? Because you have to pay for the product and there's not a guarantee that they're going to use you for your service. So again, if it's drop-off service and they're asking for a tasting, then they need to pay for it. If it's a full service company, if it's a full service event and your clients are going to spend $50,000 and you know that's what their budget is, heck yeah, bring them in for a tasting. I think for the most part, that's about it for me tonight. Like I said, I wasn't going to keep you guys forever. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer questions. You can shoot them in to me. I can see them now. Does anybody have questions, Facebook or Instagram? There's a lot of people on Instagram. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Sharice. Rhonda, Vanita, Camilla. Hi, Camilla. Thank you. David, Talia, Kenyari, Clarenda, Nicole, Chantil, Chandra. Hi, guys. Thank you, Sharon. So if nobody has questions, I'll wait another couple of minutes to see if anybody has any general questions. And if you don't, then that's fine. If you want to send me an email, that's fine. Our email is details, that's DETAILS at Potomac, like the city, POTOMACH as in Harry, G as in George.com. So that's details at PotomacHG.com. We're happy to answer questions. If you don't have any tonight, I'll be doing this again on next week. I'm going to do it on Monday when people are not at church, because I know tonight is like a Bible study night. But next week on Monday, I'll do this again, and I'll do it around the same time. Do I know of any rental kitchens or incubator spaces in the DMV? Absolutely. Send me an email or send me a DM with the same question just so that I can see it. Or better yet, send me an email and I'll respond back to you with different incubator kitchens that are in the area that are reasonably priced. Okay. But like I said, for the most part, we'll be doing this again. You're welcome. We'll be doing this again next Monday at 7 p.m., right? And we'll discuss a completely different topic. I'll post what the topic is going to be later on this week. And then on Monday, we'll do it because for most of us who are in the industry, Monday is that day where we have a little bit of a break. We're coming down from the weekend and we're trying to relax on Monday. So Monday, we'll try to do it between 7 and 8 p.m. and then we'll go from there. Thank everybody for logging in tonight. We appreciate it, and hopefully you guys learned a little bit of something or got a little bit of knowledge from me. And I believe that is it. Again, if you need any information, send me a DM. All right? Good night, everybody. Thank you. Bye. And please share the video. A lot of you all guys already did it. I saw it on Facebook and Instagram. But thank you guys for sharing. I appreciate you sharing. Good night. Thank you.